What's poppin'? What's droppin'? This your boy, live and direct, in absolute full effect, out the 832. Y'all already know how Jimmy J Smooth do. This particular stream is for my young black men between the ages of 16 particularly to about 30. You know what I'm saying? That's right. So here's my thing, and this is going out to my first age group, the first age group of these guys. I know when a lot of you got kids go to school and are in high school and you're trying to make the best decision for your life at that particular time. You know, it's not always the best decision and you're not always led in the right direction. But I'm going to do this video in particular to let you know what you need to do, or my opinion of what you need to do. First thing is first is, you know, when you're 16, usually you're either in the 10th grade, or you're either in the 10th or you're usually in the 11th grade. And when you first get into your junior year, between sophomore and junior year, you need to have a pretty good idea what you want to do in life. If you're an athlete in football or basketball or whatever, more than likely you might not make it in your sport unless you're just the number one player in your particular recruiting class. So if you're not the number one guy in your particular class, I mean the number one guy in the nation, you're more than likely there's a good chance you may not make it in high school sports. You know, you might not even do college, you know. But main thing you need to do is you need to have a backup plan. What I'm gonna do once I graduate from high school, when I get my cap and gown in high school, what I'm going to do in life. That's one of the first things you need to come to the realization of. What are you going to do when you graduate? The second is, if you're already decided on what you want to do, whether you want to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, police officer, etc., whatever field you get into, just make sure you can make a source of income out of it. Some of you guys some of you black men, more than likely you are either in a single mother household or you're in a joint custody household. Nevertheless, a lot of you guys have to take on the responsibility of holding down the household. This is not always the case. Sometimes you got mothers that have good enough jobs to where these kids don't have to worry about that. But even, you know, if you're in the inner city, most likely you're going to have to take some form of responsibility, especially if you're the oldest child. If you're the oldest or second oldest child in the family, more than likely you're going to have to, unless you have a household to where the mother is holding it down real good, the father is holding it down real good. And if you have a situation where you have two parents where they're both holding the household down financially, you're in a great situation. But if you're in a situation to where mother is telling you need to get out on your own, you most likely need to go straight into the job market before you actually decide to take up college courses or classes. I would recommend some of you guys out there take up a trade and then go straight into college. That way you'll have a job. You're able to work and go to school at the same time, which is hella hard. It can be very hard out there, but it can be done. The thing is, it is better if you probably stay with your parents a few years. Probably when you get 21. You know, to my personal opinion is, I think the average child should stay at home with their parents up until they're 25, because number one, in a lot of cities there's not a lot of good job markets out there. You know, Texas have a good job market. In particular, Phoenix have a good job market. From my understanding, Minneapolis, Minnesota have a good job market. Atlanta, Georgia has an okay job market. Not the best in the world, but they have an okay job market. But if you're not in a city where the job market, you can come up on a job making 10, I'll say shit, 12, 13, $14 an hour. If you're not in a city to where you can just walk inside of a job to where you can make that kind of money, it is probably best you stay with your parents until you're 25. The only time I tell a person to stay past 25 is, one, you're dealing with elderly parents to where you have to deal with parent with a disability. If you had kids at a young age, that is a good reason to stay at parents, because a lot of times the parents can support somebody, particularly single fathers. Single fathers, in a lot of cases, need to stay with their parents because they have to work and they need somebody to watch those children. So in that situation, those are a little bit different situations. It's very few situations where I would recommend a guy to stay past 25. Stay at home past 25, because 25, 18, 19, that means you have 5 to 6 years to get your shit together. And at that rate, you should have had your shit together within that time period. I say when I was growing up, which is the early 2000s, the 90s generation, I would probably say 21, 23. But with a lot of cities that are not economically stable, I don't suggest a kid stay past 25. You know what I'm saying? That, at that time, dudes start becoming mentally unstable. Same with the females too. But this is a message to the black men. But I think a good 5 years, 3 to 5 years should be a good timeline. But for those who are unable to stay with their parents, you're going to have to come up with a game plan. And your game plan should be take up a good trade. Take up a trade so you can have some job security. And if you want to go back to college, then you have the option. Now, another thing I would like to tell my young men, 16 kids who are high school age and high school age between college age, don't be so quick to have children at a young age, because that can be financially destructive. I know a lot of women out here want you to be a man before your time, want you to be a father before your time, but be a family man before your time. But that's a big responsibility. A man in his 20s should be focused on building. Let me repeat that again. A man in his 20s should be focused on building. Now, I'm not saying don't go out here and get your dick wet, get your female, smash a few chicks in the game and stuff like that. You're gonna do that. And I'm not gonna even sit up here and play the holier than thou game, like, you don't need to go out here and do this and do that with the women. No, I'm not gonna play that game with anybody, and neither should anybody recommend that advice. I'm not saying don't, but don't be so quick to jump in relationships, because that can be a distraction. That could be just as bad as a distraction, chasing women for per se, trying to be the player from the Himalayas. That could be just as big as a distraction, because a lot of women demand a lot of time. A lot of women can be very demanding. So my avoid serious relationships unless you really just got somebody that understands. If you're in a situation, let's for instance, a Steph Curry situation with Ayesha Curry. They've been together for a long period of time. In that situation, with both parties it's being successful, both parties are holding it down. In a situation like that, that can work. But if
if you're uncertain whether or not you have that, you shouldn't be so fast to get into a relationship. You should go through your player stage. You should go through your nigga shit stage. You should go through the stage to where you're traveling all over the world. Because let me tell you something: when you get into a serious relationship at a young age and you go overseas, go around the world, you know, you're gonna be saying to yourself, "Damn, why I got with this motherfucker right here." It's good to travel. You know, that's what I did in my 20s. You know, when I traveled to different parts of the United States, you know, I haven't been all over the world, but you know, when I got to see different sectors of women all across the country, it's like, damn, these bitches fine as hell. And that's what a lot of guys gonna miss out on. You should be able to have your fun. You should be able to live life like a young man should. You should be able to have the options to, you know, sow your wild oats and get all that nigga shit out your system while you're young. You know, don't go too wild. Don't get into a situation to where you end up in jail, your check get garnished. Don't get into a situation sooner than you want to. Hell, even at my age, you know, I'll be 35 this year, so don't, you know, even my age, you know, some guys my age is not ready for to settle down them damn selves, financially or mentally. But with that being said, you wanna plan shit out. You know, go see the world. Go, you know, hell, get out your city. You know, if you in Atlanta, go see Miami. If you in Miami, go see Atlanta. If you in Miami, go see fucking New York City. Go to Canada some fucking where. Do enough traveling to where you can say you did everything you want to do. You know, and I say, you know, party like a rock star, but don't party to where you're in debt. You ain't got to go to the club every weekend. You ain't, you know, some people that's not their thing. They're not partying type people, and that's cool if you're not. But I say at least enjoy your youth while you have the opportunity to enjoy your youth. Don't squander away your youth, your precious 20s on fucking up. Don't squander your 20s. You know what I'm saying? You know, take your 20s, have your little fun here and there, but build your foundation. You know, when by the time you're 27, 28, 30 years old, then you're ready to have a family. You're mentally ready to have a family. You didn't had all your fun. You didn't did all your nigga shit. You didn't did all your dumb shit while you at 30. But at least you build. You had your fun here and there. You graduated from college. You got your CDL. You got your barber license. You got your business license and shit like that. You didn't did the you did everything you can in your power to uh, you did everything in your power to build your foundation. You know, also invest your money. You know, when you graduate, a lot of you guys will probably be 23, 24, right at 25 before you graduated out of college. Some of you, the great mass majority, some of you gonna take the junior college route. Some of you may have to take the get your shit together route, whereas you have to get out of the house as soon as possible. And message to parents, you know, don't be so quick to put your kids out in the real world. You know, that's not always the best option. Now, you know, if you got somebody that want to be grown and shit like that, that's a whole nother story. But we shouldn't be so fast to kick our boys and girls out at a certain age. You know what I'm saying? Now, if they get 20, 21 and want to leave, then that's on them. That's a different story. You know, I left my home right at 21 years old myself. I came back uh, right at 25, and then I left again at 28. So I stayed another 3 years, but that's mostly to pay off my mother's mortgage and stuff like that. My situation was a little different than most, and my brother left at 25 and hadn't been back since. Right around 25, yeah, about 25. So my point is, let your kids drive. And I say to you young guy men out there, take your opportunity while your parents are letting you stack your money. Because some of you got a lot of you guys are gonna go straight to the job force. A lot of you go be in the job force and uh, taking up a trade, and that's cool. That is absolutely cool. But you know what I'm saying? Make sure you have your things together. Do a little bit of investing. Learn the stock market. Learn some trades. Learn. Uh, uh, get some books about real estate, how to flip properties and stuff like that. Learn those and get you some investments. Get you about, rack up, buy the neighborhood. Get you about 10 properties. Get you about 20 properties. Hell, if you're really balling like that, get you about 20 houses around your neighborhood. Get you about 100. And then by the time you're 30, you got assets. You got at least probably 500,000, $1 million worth of assets. And then you ready to have a kid. You know what I'm saying? You ready to marry somebody. You ready to settle down. Like the old song says, take your time, young man. And that's uh, no truer words than that. Take your time. Some of you guys may have to go to another state and get your shit together. And that's cool. You know, Sometimes you need to get out your whack ass city and uh, get it together. There's nothing wrong with that. But main thing is make sure you're ready before you take responsibility, uh, or be willing to take some responsibility uh, for another person, I should say. You know, to me, I think black men should. I think a black guy, 27 is fine when it comes to being ready to settle down, but I think a guy should wait till he's at least 30 to even either settle down or have the consideration of settling down because there's a lot of guys my age. My bad. There's a lot of guys my age that there's a lot of guys my age um, that don't have children. There's a lot of guys that's never been married, and it is not because, and I hear this a lot. Women are not trying to have children, but that's not necessarily the case. And the the real reason why is a lot of guys see their friends and peers get popped by child support, see their friends and peers get popped by alimony and all check garnished because you know some relationships just don't work out. My thing is make sure you have a foundation before you decide to take that leap of faith. There's nothing wrong with taking your time. There's nothing wrong with waiting till you're 40, 30. But I say the best time is usually going to be 30. 27 is okay, especially if you built that foundation in your early 20s. But a lot of times, even then, a lot of times people got to help their moms out. A lot of times people got to help their parents out with bills, and it may take them a little time. So I say 30 is the perfect time. Now, some of these women gonna be up here listening and be like, well, uh, we'll get the big head and be like, well, why man gotta wait so long and all this other good shit. But let me tell you something, ladies. If you decide to listen to me, a lot of these dudes don't have it together. Don't have it together. A lot of guys don't mature. A lot of guys don't mature until they get in their 30s, late 20s, early 30s. And he needs that time period. Whereas women, it's a little different. Women a lot of times have their shit together way before guys do, physically and mentally. Especially if you're one of those women that ain't got knocked up by 1,000 dudes out here. You have it good. You know what I'm saying? Women can be 25 and have kids, especially if they got a dude that already has it together. She got a dude that got it together. She's got it made for the most part. You got some women that does their own shit, and that's cool in the game too. But guys out here, a lot of guys don't have that luxury to do what you do, ladies. It's a different ball game for guys. Guys are looked at as providers. Guys are looked at as should be are looked at as the protectors, looked at as the head of household. And when you're looked at as such, you need a little bit more time to get it together. And a lot of times a guy has it together right between his 30, 30 and 40 in some cases. Sometimes a dude don't really have their shit together until they get like their 40s. And there's the old school saying, and this is true. No matter how bad a society is, men, a lot of people view men as their sexiest in their 40s. You know what I'm saying? A lot of guys out here just not having kids out here. And they see what their friends go through. When guys strap up before they act up, or or even crazier, give y'all motherfuckers facials before give y'all asses facials instead of letting you carry his seed. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it is what it is. You know, I know condoms are not 100% guaranteed, but you know, I'm 30. I'm gonna be 35 years old, and if I have any children, uh, I would be 35, between 35, practically 36 by the time I have my first child. That's if anything crazy happens within the next year, you know. And hopefully I'm settled down at that point. But it is what it is. But I'm saying to young men out there, they need to have a foundation. They need to build their foundation in their 20s. You know, I've made a lot of mistakes in my 20s and stuff like that. You know, I don't think I had too much fun, but I could have did a little bit better in terms of saving in my 20s. So I'm telling guys that 16, between 16 and 30, build that foundation before you decide to invest into a family. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing right there. Uh, you know, so, you know, and another thing too, man, is always, you know, calculate the cost of tuition and calculate your living expenses while you have the chance to, uh, while you have the chance as well. Because a lot of you gonna be going to college, and a lot of you gonna have some struggles while you're in college. You're gonna struggle as you trying to graduate, and when you when you when you do uh, man, just calculate those costs. Like I say, sometimes it's just better to take a trade up first, and then go straight into your field. You know, nothing wrong with getting a CDL before you get uh, your your, uh, your master's degree or your doctorate or whatever. Is actually better that way. Sometimes it's just good to just go ahead and have something, at, you know what I'm saying, a bird in the hand and a bird in the bush. Sometimes it's just better to get that together. And that's what I would tell my young guys right there. If you want to go to school and go to school for business management, you know, get you a CDL, or you know, get you a trade or something. Be an aviation mechanic, you know, before you become an engineer. You know, that way you can have some, you know, have some paper. You know, that's what I would tell these guys these days. You know, so main thing is, man, make sure you build your foundation while you're young, because start off, do everything you want to do while you're in your 20s, because your 20s is your most creative thinking stage of your life, and 20s is one of those eras you're not going to get back. Once you get once your 20s are gone, then your 20s is gone. They'll just be memories. So do all the nigga shit, you know. Don't do nothing too dumb, but I'm gonna say this for lack of a better term. You know, do all your dumb shit while you're in your 20s. You know what I'm saying? So, and like I said earlier about guys, by the time you're 25, you should have a more than enough foundation to leave your mother's household. I know there's situations that are exceptions to the rules. Now, and then here's another thing too. Black men, stop using your mom's spot as an excuse to just be a rest haven for a lazy motherfucker. We need to cut that shit out too, because a lot of dudes be like, man, I'm taking care of my mom, and your mom want to walk around butt naked, and she wants your dumb ass to get the fuck out of her house too, goddamn it. So my thing is, get your motherfucking ass up out the house, dude. 25 should be the perfect time. Again, there are exceptions to the rules. Sometimes guys do need to be there past 25 because it's they truly have a situation. But there's some dudes out here that be like, well, I'm just out here to take care of my mom. Nigga, you got a full head of gray hair still saying you taking care of your mom, and your mama's perfectly healthy. Your mama want to walk around butt naked and get her do her thing, and she waiting on your stupid ass to get the fuck out the house. No, nigga, get your stupid ass about the house, dude. Again, I know there's exceptions to the rules, but if you're not the exception to the rule, get your biscuit head ass out the motherfucking house. Get your Nature's Bounty logo sign head out the motherfucking house. But to my young men, we gotta become better builders. Also, young men, learn how to defend yourself. It is important that every black man, especially young black men, know how to defend themselves. Uh, don't get into the court system. Don't get don't get a shitload of traffic violations. Just stay out the court system as much as you can. I know there's people that can't stay out the court systems and they're in survival mode situations. I get that. But don't ever put yourself in survival mode. Try to get your shit together. Get your gun permit. Go into a martial arts school. Nigga, learn some wrestling, nigga. Shit. Learn some boxing. Again, I don't recommend those be the main things you learn, but hell, a little bit of something is better than a whole lot of nothing. Like I said on J Dog's show, learn some type of self defense as well. Don't be out here being the hashtag Negro. Get your gun permit. Learn weapons defense. Learn as much as you can. That's the reason why you need to take those 20s and be the best man you can be while you're in your 20s. Get all your shit. Get your black belt while you're in your 20s. And if you made it past your 30s without your black belt, go back and get it. Become a sensei or some shit. But main thing is learn as much as you can while you're young. Because once those 20s end, then it's a whole nother era. Now it's how can I apply everything I need to apply in my how can I apply everything that I should have applied in my 20s and my 30s? That's what you need to be focused on. And another thing is shout out to CJ Goodfellow at Goodfellow Sports TV on YouTube, man. He inspired me to do this video because I remember him talking about this when I was listening to his show at my job. So he was talking about what men need to do while they're young and stuff like that. But like I say, man, have your shit together. By the time you get your 30s, some guys are able to get their businesses off the ground in their 20s, and that is just great. And have the foundation established in your 20s. You can be 19, 18 years old and establish a business and have it situated by, be straight while you're in your 30s. Your business might fail, but you might have enough revenue to take that stash and make something else. It's always good to do that. So it is what it is, guys. But main thing, guys, is just let's have yourself established by the time you hit the age of 30. So once again, it's your boy, live and direct, in full effect out there, 32. Y'all already know how I do.